Hey yo, it's Brian here. Today, talking about the San Francisco 49ers. In this one, doing my position edge for the 49ers against the Philadelphia Eagles. I'm excited for this. I hope you guys are excited as well. Did a prediction video yesterday. Had a lot of comments from you guys in San Francisco, also in Philadelphia. So thank you guys so much. Whether it was good or bad, I don't really care. I had a good time talking to you guys, and I hope you guys do discuss about this one because this one should be a little bit more interesting. Eagles are a very good team. I don't want to take too much away from week one for both teams, but this is a brand new week, and we just got to take it as a brand new week. Anything can happen in football, and I'm hoping the 49ers, I predicted them to win the game. I hope they win this one for Sunday. I hope you guys are having a great Wednesday. Nothing too crazy for me. Let's just get this started. Before I do, as always, please like and subscribe. It's going to help me out a lot. Click that bell notification, get notified of future videos. Share the content with fellow Niner faithfuls. Podcast page, you guys want to check it out. Link will be in the description below. TikTok page, also description below. Thank you guys so much. Let's get this started. 49ers versus Eagles position edge. Who has it for this week? First up, quarterback position, Jimmy Garoppolo versus Jalen Hurts. Who am I going to give the initial edge to? Well, I believe both quarterbacks are great. Hurts is on the rise. Jimmy, he's been here for a while. He's played really good football, but as you all know, the injury problem. Other than that, I have no complaints at all about Jimmy. And if I had to give the initial edge, I probably have to give it to Jalen Hurts, actually. I want to give it to Jimmy so badly, but I think the way he plays in terms of being a great passer of the ball, also being a mobile quarterback, which the 49ers have had problems with in the past, I think that's going to give him just the initial edge for this matchup. And you know what? I can't deny that at all. I think he's a rising quarterback in the NFL. A lot of people underrated him probably coming into the season, but now playing one game in Atlanta, I know it's only one game, but he is showing a lot of flashes. I think he's going to do really good for them in the future and in the short term as well. So edge, Jalen Hurts, but more because he's a mobile quarterback, and that could be a very dangerous spot for the 49ers defense. Number two for me, running backs, who am I going to give the initial edge to? This one's kind of tough. Miles Sanders, he's a great running back. He does a lot of good things for them. 49ers, unfortunately, lost Raheem Mostert for the year due to knee surgery. Now they have Elijah Mitchell, JaMychal Hasty, all those guys. I think they could do great. But if I did give the initial edge, I have to give it to the 49ers. There's probably never been a time where I'd never give the 49ers the edge in running back position, and I think it's more because of the system. A lot of people would say the players are better, but in San Francisco's favor, it's going to be the system. We've seen it plenty of times where we've had a great running back going up against them, like a Nick Chubb or Dalvin Cook, but they couldn't do anything. But the running backs that we've had, 2 or 3 of them, they played really, really well, and even better than those guys. For me, it's more system versus player. I think the system for the 49ers is better, in my opinion. It always will be, as long as the offensive line does their work. I don't know if it's controversial for Eagles fans, but you have to go with the 49ers running backs just because of their system and the way Kyle Shanahan uses these guys in the offense. Edge, 49ers. Wide receiver position, Niners versus Eagles. Who am I going to give the initial edge to? That was pretty interesting. Devontae Smith, I think we all know his debut in Philadelphia. He did a really great job against Atlanta, and you can't deny that at all. Jalen Reagor, he also is a great number 2 option. That's also another good thing going for them. The 49ers, they have a lot of good things going on as well. You have Deebo Samuel. He went off in the game against Atlanta. I don't want to take too much from last week's game because it's always a brand new week, but that's the only thing I can really base it on for right now. The thing I like about the 49ers receivers is that they could do a lot of stuff, not just catch the ball, but also run the ball and block for the running game. That's a big plus for them, and I think it's going to bode really well for them. You have Trent Sherfield. He is an amazing receiver, and he did a great job week 1 for us against Detroit. A lot of good things going on for the 49ers in terms of that. It's getting a lot better than it has been for the past couple of years. And if I did get the initial edge, I'm actually going to give it to the 49ers. This one is maybe a little bit more contingent on if Brandon Ayuk can play. Ayuk is a very dynamic receiver, but maybe he's in Kyle Shanahan's doghouse because I don't know. But anyways, I love the receiving core for the 49ers. The Eagles, it's up there as well, but I'm still going to give it to the 49ers. I think it's mostly because of Deebo Samuel. He's a very dynamic guy if you haven't watched him play. Last year in Philadelphia, I don't think he was available to play, so that was a big hindrance to the team. But whenever he's on the field, number 19, they win a lot of football games. He's going to be the big X factor if you're the Eagles watching this, and you got to cover and game plan for this guy. Initial edge, 49ers, Deebo Samuel, I think he's going to have a great game. And also Brandon Ayuk, he should be making his return, I guess you want to call it, for this game as well. But we'll see what happens then. Next up is going to be the tight ends position, National Tight Ends Day. Whenever it is, it's probably every Sunday. George Kittle versus Zach Ertz. Who am I going to get the initial edge to? I always got to give it to my boy Kittle because he's George Kittle. That's all I can pretty much say. And the only guy I would probably give the initial edge to is Travis Kelce or even Dalen Waller from the Raiders. Kittle right now, probably the number 1, number 2 best tight end in the NFL, and you can't go wrong with that at all. He hasn't had to do too much for the 49ers this year right now because we've had a great receiving core, a great running game. He's been a little bit in the backseat, but when he needs to play, he'll do a really good job. George edge. Offensive line, 49ers versus Eagles. Who am I going to give the initial edge to? A little bit tough because both offensive lines did a really good job last week against Atlanta. 49ers, Jimmy Garoppolo, I think he got hit maybe once or twice, but he never got sacked. Jalen Hurts, he only got sacked once. That's really good news right there. The Eagles' O-line is getting better. The 49ers' offensive line is getting better. If you're hoping for that matchup like last year where the offensive line got pretty beat up in terms of that, that's not going to happen at all, I don't believe. I think with the things that they did in the offseason, it was a really good acquisition like Alex Smack and other players improving like Trent Williams, Mike McGlinchey, another year in this system. I'm excited for them. They had a great performance against the Lions. Can't go wrong with that. If I give the initial edge, I might give it to the 49ers. Slight edge. It's just a slight edge, but I'm liking what I saw in week one. I'm liking the whole roster in general. I've always been a big fan this whole offseason. I think they're going to do really well this year in particular. They just got to be careful with Philadelphia's defensive line because it's really good, and I'll be talking about that in a second. If I look at talent for talent, offensive line, I have to give it to the 49ers. You can't go wrong with Williams, Mack, and Tomlinson, Daniel Brunskill. They're a really good chemistry team. I love them. Next up, the defense. Defense. This one should be a little bit more interesting because both defenses are really good. They can create turnovers with their defensive back. They also can get to the quarterback, and that's really what you need in the defense. I'm hoping the Eagles have a terrible game because, hey, it's the Eagles, right? We got to play them this week. First up, 49ers versus Eagles. Who am I going to get the initial edge to in the defensive line? That's a tough one right there. I mean, I love my defensive line. You got Nick Bosa, D Ford. Ford was able to have a great return game ever since not playing since week 1 in 2020, and he was able to come off healthy. That's amazing right there. Bosa, he had a pretty good game as well, although it could have been a little bit better, but still, I'll take a return game as a success. Eric Armstead, all these guys can get to the quarterback, and the only problem that they had was the run defense. Williams, as you all know, he ran over us essentially, so that's really disappointing to see, but at the same time, they can improve on it big time. The Eagles, they have a lot of great guys as well. They have Hargraves. They also have Fletcher Cox. He's Pro Bowl All-Pro guy, and they can get to the quarterback as well. They can cause a lot of havoc, a lot of trouble. This one's probably the toughest one, I would say, in terms of picking an edge for somebody. If I had to pick an initial edge, I might give it to the 49ers initially. I know that's a little bit controversial, especially if you're an Eagles fan, but I'm liking the defensive line. I'm feeling really confident about them. If they can shore up their defensive line in the interior, it'll be really good. And if Javon Kinlaw comes back, I think it's going to be even better. All that aside, I think the 49ers, they have a slightly better defensive line, although you cannot take Eagles' defensive line as a joke as well. Slightly edge, 49ers, and, I'm going to keep it like that. Linebacker position, 49ers versus Eagles. Who am I going to give the initial edge to? I have to give it to the 49ers in terms of Fred Warner and Dre Greenlaw. These guys fly around all day, and they can get to you side to side. They won't let you get in their zone that often. Greenlaw, he's emerging as one of the top outside linebackers in the NFL. He's done a really good job ever since coming to the 49ers. Also, you have guys like Al-Jair. He's the starter on the opposite side. He's done a great job for the 49ers as well, and in the game last week against the Lions. I'm going to give the edge to the 49ers. I haven't mentioned Fred Warner, best linebacker in the NFL in my opinion, so that's just me right there. Last up, defensive back, 49ers versus Eagles. Who am I going to give the initial edge to? I probably have to give it to the Eagles in this one, in this case, because I don't really trust the 49ers secondary just yet. They have a lot of good talent. They have a lot of good things going on with them, but at the same time, there's just something off about it. I don't know. I mean, when Jason Verrett got hurt, unfortunately, God rest his knees. Hopefully, he'll be okay for next year. They put Dante Johnson in. It was not a good day to watch the 49ers play football at all in terms of passing the ball, Jared Goff to whoever receiver he was throwing to. But there was a lot of promise. You had DeMontre Lenoir. He had a really good debut in San Francisco. Also have Jimmy Ward and Jaquiski Tartt. They're great guys. I mean, they did have a little bit of a slip up, but at the same time, they're pretty good safeties. I would take them any day of the week. But there's just something that's missing with the 49ers secondary, and I hope they can address this later on before the game starts. I mean, we did sign a couple of guys. We have Drake Kirkpatrick now. We also have Josh Norman. He could be a guy to rely upon, and I'm hoping Emmanuel Mosley makes his return sometime soon because he's going to be an important guy on this defense. Very underrated player in terms of defensive backs, but there's just something missing, in my opinion, for the 49ers secondary. The Eagles, they have a really good team in terms of the secondary, and I think they picked off Matt Ryan quite a bit of times, actually. Oh, actually, they did not. They were able to lock him down all day, and they did a really good job in terms of the whole defense secondary, led by Darius Slay. I mean, that's a defense you don't want to mess with at all in terms of the secondary. And we always joke around about the Eagles not having a good secondary. They have a pretty good one, in my opinion. So initial edge, Eagles, 49ers, I'm really shaking about coming in this game. That's pretty much it, you guys. A lot of the edges went to the 49ers, but also gave some love to the Eagles as well because they're a really tough team, and I think it's going to be a nail-biter, in my opinion. I don't think it's going to be the blowout that we saw last year with Nick Mullins as our starting quarterback. I think the team is much better then. So if you're an Eagles fan trying to base it on last year, please don't. It's a much different team, and we won't base it off of last year from you guys, us playing you guys in Philadelphia or in San Francisco in this case. Please let me know what you guys think about edges. I like what you just say in the comments below. If you guys like this, please like and subscribe. That's going to help you out a lot. I'll be catching you guys up hopefully this week. I don't know when, but definitely this week. Bye, guys. Love y'all. Y'all have a good rest of your night. Go Niners all day.